Hello, welcome to this mini series on starting a business on a shoestring, for lack of better words. I'm Dr. GAM. I'm going to talk today about different types of business ownerships or structures. I'm just going to briefly just go into some of the things to think about if you're going to open up a business and this is the structure you want to set up. It just gives you an idea. Remember, what you're doing now is you're planning to open up a business in the future. But you want to, hey, what do I need to do this? I want to get my stuff in order, my understanding order. So, okay, sole proprietor. Sole proprietor, so I can open up a business right now. Sell hot dogs, do whatever I want, get a license, and I'm the sole proprietor. Everything is on me. I'm my own owner. I control everything. All right? Now, there's a plus to that. I don't have to listen to anybody, but the plus to that, if you're just a sole proprietor working out of your house or whatever, you basically have unlimited liability. So if your business does something that someone wants to sue you and you don't have enough insurance or anything else for your business operation per se, they could go after your personal assets. Now in a partnership is, again, now you have two people bringing in their assets or capital, so it gives you a little more working room, for lack of a better word. Again, if you get sued or anything else, you figure the partnership, you'll have enough capital to offset that, or resources, for lack of a better word. But you still, and if you don't, your business operation doesn't, they go after your personal asset. Now, the other thing is cooperatives. Real quickly, it's something like, if I look at as a Ace Hardware store or a True Value, they're basically a cooperative, for lack of a better word. They buy by bulk and then they just divide among themselves, but they're competitors among each other, for lack of better words. There's a little more information. And then corporations. We all know about the big corporation, Amazon Corporation, Google, all the larger ones, right? More structure and everything else. Now, what I want you to understand, then you have franchisees. Franchisees is almost like a condominium. I want to be a homeowner, but I don't want to do all the outside maintenance, so I do a franchise. So someone sets up the business model for you, the structure and everything else. You pay them a royalty, and they basically give you the model. And you got to look at the franchise agreement, but you have a higher probability of success rates. Okay, so those are the ones you have here. These two here, you have some liability that comes to your personal asset. These here, basically, the liability is only towards the corporation as long as you don't use your personal asset somehow to borrow or to acquire more resources. Now, I'm just giving a quick general overview. Remember, for this course, you take full class. I used to teach full classes at several community colleges, and what happens in a full class, you get into more detail. This is you're starting off a business, you're working in a garage, you're trying to say, hey, I think I could sell something, I think I can make some money doing it about something that I enjoy. I got a name and everything else, so now you want to see what kind of partnership. My recommendation, suggestion, is basically, when you finally know the business type we talked earlier, you kind of know where you want to make some money, even though you only got one product line. We'll get into that later on. What you wanted to do now is, okay, how do I set up my business that it could grow in the future as I become more successful, and plus that it basically separates the business operation from my personal assets or belongings, my home and everything else. So if my business does something wrong, they go after the business, but they can't touch my personal assets. Remember, you take a business law class, a couple of law classes. I'm just giving you just a quick overview so you understand. Here's a quick diagram of what's going on. So now, what I would normally recommend or suggest is basically a Chapter S or a limited liability. And the reason for this is a smaller thing, even though you're just starting. I don't have much money, Dr. George, Dr. Gam, what am I going to do? Look, you want to protect your assets, your personal. Right now, as the sole proprietor partnership, if you're living at home, you just graduated out of college or high school, and you have nothing they're going to get after you, so you don't have to worry about it. What the hell? I don't worry if they sue me. What are they going to get? I don't have anything. But remember, they could also go after your future earnings down the road. Depends on the state. Okay, So now, what's going to happen that may work well for you. But let's say you say, hey, this is my idea, I want to go for it. The reason I go Chapter S or limited liability is a smaller version of a larger corporation, of a larger structure, but basically gives you the protection. So anything that the business does, it's held liable, but it can't go after your personal assets because that's separate. Just like when you go to work, or if you're you do something wrong at the business, they can't really sue you. They can't go after your house or your belongings. They go after the corporation. Okay. So now Chapter S is real easy. I think it's like $75 to start off with Chapter S. It's a substitute for a corporation, but a smaller size. No more than a shareholder. That means you can sell shares. Somebody wants to buy interest in your idea. You don't have to go out and say, I need all this. You could sell them a share. I mean, remember, there's more to it. It's not that easy. Well, it's fairly easy, but just so you understand it. Okay, you have a number of shareholders, no more than 100 shareholders. You have to be a U.S. citizen or a legal residence. Only one class of stocks. You find that. We'll talk about that later. And benefits change with new tax laws. Okay, no double taxation. When you talk about double taxation, basically, if I own shares in a company, when I get the dividends, right? Remember, the company pays all the taxes as part of operation, and then the profits are turned into dividends and give it to me. And so when I get the dividends as a personal shareholder, I have to show that as extra revenue, and I still have to pay taxes. So the company pays taxes and I pay taxes. That's when you become a corporation. A little different. You could sell shares and everything else. That's a different structure. But right now, you want to say, hey, I don't pay double taxation, so you have the ability to just use it as your own profit, and you're not paying taxes of it from the business operation as a Chapter S. $75, and now you have a federal ID number, if I'm mistaken, and you go to work trying to drum up business or new clientele. You are a little more structured because you're a Chapter S. Your suppliers look at you different. Hey, he or she is basically interested in this business. They have their heart and soul into it, so they'll give you a little more credence to look at you. You're just not playing around. It's not just a hobby. You've actually invested in it. Okay, so you have that. That takes care of Chapter S. I have a lot of people who are deliveries, doing trucking and everything else. They're trucking companies at Chapter S, and they basically work out for somebody else underneath the Chapter S umbrella, for lack of a better word. Now, the next one I wanted you to think is this limited liability organization. It's similar to a corporation. This is what my business is set up. My previous business was set up as an LLC, GAM Business Consulting and Education LLC. It's similar to an S corporation, okay, but without the eligibility requirements. So you don't have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be a legal citizen. Depends on the state. Okay, I got to be careful now. There's some states they have different rules. Well, okay, but you don't have to be a U.S. citizen or a legal resident here. That means you can't be here on a visa and everything else and open up a Chapter S type of corporation. But you may be able to do an LLC. Depending on the states, look at the rules on that. Okay. You get a federal tax ID number. Some of the advantages are limited liability, like I said, choice of taxation. Do I want to use the structure for a small business, or do I want to do it as my personal? Which one gives me a better break? That's where your accounting gets into that. Later on, when we talk about accounting, I think we'll talk about QuickBooks. Again, something else. Get the software. Real easy. Get used to it. As a small business, you want to start having all this on paper. You got to start thinking logically and plan ahead. Okay, flexible ownership rules, flexible distributions of profits and losses, operating. Disadvantages: no stocks, limited lifespan, is only as long as I'm alive or the partners that are in this, fewer incentives, taxes and paperwork. Now this costs, I think like when I did a way back, it was like $350. It's about $500 to get it. Then I pay a renewal fee. I think with the state of Illinois, it's $75 or $50. I've got it right here. I owe $75 every year. Okay, but remember, now I'm an LLC, so I could go GAM Consulting and Education LLC, GAM Painting LLC. What happens when you do a business and other suppliers, they look at you, you already have that next level up. Now, starting for a business, remember? But Dr. George, I don't want to start a business right away. I'm not sure. I'm just playing around. I understand that. I'm preparing for the future. I want to get everything right. But my suggestion, once you have a name, you have a product, you have a kind of what state you're going to be in, all right, I would either go and submit that and incorporate a Chapter S or an LLC on paper. So you pay the money, and if you don't know, the paperwork's not that difficult, you're not sure, you got LegalZoom will do something like that for I think like another $500, and then you take it over. It's up to you. There's other software, there's other tools out there to help you. But so now you set up as a Chapter S, and you set or an LLC. What you have is a birth certificate for your business. You have a creation date. Not that I'm doing business as a sole proprietor. Well, I started 5 years ago. Yeah, right. You're just doing this now. You have something in here. Even though the business may not be operative for the next 3 years, you already have that set up. You have the structure, and you're building on it. So when you actually do go into business and you say, how long have you been in business, you're not lying. Remember, I teach marketing. It's a fine line. The conception of this business was February 6, 2024. So now you have something. Do you see where I'm coming from? You already have a website, you have a name, and you have a business. And it could be 2, 3 years. You haven't done anything with the business. It's just there. You just keep on renewing it, but the thing is still under structure, for lack of a better word. And then when you're ready to open up the business, you've taken some classes at a college or at the Small Business Administration, or you've talked to other people about how to start a business, or you worked for a business so you have a general idea. Now you're ready to go, and you'll do your first market, your first business, whatever, and then you have that. The other advantage of this, when you have an LLC, other than the limited liability, there's a little more on that. You could make sure you research that, but I don't have to give out my Social Security number. I just give them the federal ID number, tax number, to businesses. Because remember, there's a lot of small businesses that I, as a consultant, am working with are very shady. I wouldn't want to give them any information once I worked with them. And if you man, these guys are or gals are okay. So that's in a nutshell. So my recommendation, suggestion. Remember, take some classes at a college and everything else, but this is just quick in a nutshell. You're starting off as a sole proprietor, you bring a partnership. As soon as you get $300 or $400, whatever it is, to get into a Chapter S is the cheapest, and then a liability. And once you have this structure, you could always change the structure as your business grows. But this is what you're doing now to survive and to give you some credibility. And so when people look at your business operation, they figure he or she is basically in the business. Okay, talk to you later. I'm Dr. GAM. Bye. Let me find my button here. Oh, 13 minutes. I went over. Sorry. I try to keep it under 10. But once you like to talk, you like to talk. You can tell I'm out of marketing. So focus, keep up on it. You'll do well. Remember, right now there's a lot, but once you understand how the game works, once you understand all this other little stuff, then you have a 50-50 chance of being successful. I think that's what the statistics shows. Okay.